Okay, so let's go to Soshified because this is how you were introduced to me. Like it was, I didn't know.
Right.
Like, when we're introduced, like, here's a person, whatever. But that was the main thing, was like, she had this huge blog and it blew up and it was like the main thing. Everybody knew about it. It was such a big deal. And so today, actually, for the first time ever, I went and looked at it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It's still up. I know.
It's still up.
I love that, by the way, that
It's
you
still
kept
up.
your content up.
My team out there that's running it, I'm not quite sure who's running it.
Oh, cool.
I really don't.
Yeah, but okay,
You're like,
so,
who is running this at this point?
Yeah, because I was looking at it, and there are some articles from, like, I would say, like, 2022,
Right.
but nothing super recent
Right.
or whatever. But, like, it was a whole production. You got to look at this. It was a whole production. She had, like, what they were wearing and, like, what they were
Soshified
posting.
style. Loved it.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Like, crazy. So when did that start for you, and when did you know that was something you wanted to start?
Okay, so I remember starting it when I was like 15 or 16. I was in high school, and at that time, I recently got into like K-dramas, and I was listening to like the background music, and I learned about like TVXQ and Super Junior, and I kind of aged myself with that.
It's okay.
That was what K-pop
okay.
was like all these boy bands. And at that time, Girls' Generation was like up and coming. I think it was like maybe a couple months after their debut, and I saw this documentary series about them being like called Girls Go to School. Girls Go to School.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, this is so inspiring for them to be like a girl group that's like taking over a space that's predominantly all guys, right? And I was like, I want to learn more about them. So I joined this forum. And it was like weird because it was like you can only join on like the 30th of the month. They were very exclusive.
Oh.
And when I was finally
Only the 30th of the month is
it
very
was wild. And I wanted to watch the show so bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to watch the show. Like, so I learned how to like basically edit, like translate videos. No, I wasn't a translator. My friend at school was Korean, and I was like, hey, can you watch this during recess with me and just like line by line tell me what they're saying? And I learned how to add subtitles to videos. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I got accepted into that forum, and I posted that video, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I subtitled this next episode. You guys can watch it. But this forum thought it was competition, and they blocked my account. They blocked my account. And I was like, why did you block my account? Now I want to make other Girls' Generation friends.
Yeah.
So then I just learned how to like, create a forum and build that community.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that was like kind of
It's
history
intense.
because I saw a lot of what like Korean fans were doing at that time. Mind you, there wasn't like TikTok, there wasn't like Twitter, there wasn't any of this back then for K-pop. K-pop was very exclusive. K-pop was just the company will release a news article or something and fans would have to translate it, right?
I'm like, let me.
Yeah, but
I'm obsessed.
I noticed how fan culture in Korea is so different. Like they would do
so
birthday things where they would
yeah,
pull
right.
money together. And I think in the history of Soshified, we donated over like $100,000 to different charities on behalf of Girls' Generation. And every birthday we would do things, and it got to the point where like they would like wear, or their first anniversary, they wore the shirts we gave them, and they made a whole blog. It was like and then their company noticed it, SM Entertainment, because there wasn't any true connection to international fans at that time. Like they didn't even have their own like Twitter account. It wasn't a thing. So they came to America for like a performance, and we bought over like I think like 100 or 300 seats or something, and we wore the same pink T-shirts, and we had our own like pre-concert like convention at the LA Convention Center where we had like booths set up, and we had like all these things, and people lined up, and you took pictures, and then SM Entertainment noticed, and they were like, "Whoa, this is crazy! Like, how did you get all these fans to collectively come together in America?" And mind you, I think at that time I was maybe like 18 or 19.
Oh.
Yeah, and I
a
remember
baby.
telling my mom I was going to LA to like for a school trip. And then my grandma saw these like Girls' Generation posters because I was staying with her because that was like, I was like a high schooler. I'm like, I'm just here in LA to watch this concert. And she asked my mom, she's like, why does she have all these like, I thought it's just like school trip. I almost got in trouble, but my mom is so chill. She didn't really ask any questions. Luckily. Yeah, she was just like, okay, whatever. And also she has like 6 kids, right? So I was like the last. I was the last.
The
of
one
her,
going to see Girls' Generation.
Yeah.
It's
She has no.
just like-
She doesn't need to know all the details.
Yeah.
As long as I'm safe and all that. And it was really cool because I got to meet the girls for the first time. And then I gave them like a login to the website, and they logged in randomly and left messages for fans. And
that's such a
felt
beautiful
like
fan
right?
story.
We were like bridging that connection.
That's crazy.
And they saw, like I said, we were the missing link at that time because international fans and K-pop didn't have that connection. And I remember Girls' Generation had released, I'm a boy. What is it? See, this is what I'm talking about. It's been so long ago. I love Girls' Generation
Brain
so much.
rot.
What is it?
I got a boy.
I got a boy.
I got a
don't
boy.
have a
Yeah,
computer.
I got a
Yeah,
boy.
I got a boy.
And they had to come for like a David Letterman performance, or I forgot what it was, like a whole New York thing. And they were like, they contacted me and they were like, hey, can you throw together like a fan meet? And you could still see that
wow.
fan meet online. Like I produced that whole
looking it up.
thing with my team. My team is incredible because I was some kid in college. And they were people that worked at Google. They worked at all the Amazon. They worked at all these companies, but they were big Girls' Generation fans. And we all just worked together and we produced the first fan meet. I think
That's
I
so
would
awesome.
say in America. I would even be, for any K-pop artist, we were the first people in the Best Buy theater.
Yeah.
Now you see Monster X, all these people performing there,
Right,
but
right.
we were there because that was the venue that we decided. We looked at Hard Rock, we looked at that, and then we were like, okay, let's do this fan meet before the girls went on TRL. They were on stage, they sang, the fans, we did games with them, we did everything. You could still see it online, which I
my
thought was
God.
so cool
That's
because
so
it was
incredible.
all us.
Yeah.
Like the graphics and everything, like SM didn't touch any of it. Like they just told us like, can you
Which
do
is,
this?
as we know, would never happen
No,
today.
right. But
Like,
that's
ever.
how she was described to me from somebody was like she was like the fan like the fangirl for everything before like actual like because we know it as like BTS Army and like whatever, but like
Yeah.
you apparently to a lot of people in the K-pop industry were the beginning of the way that like a lot of the K-pop fans kind of interact today.
Yeah,
which is a huge thing to say.
Massive.
I think so. I always forget
huge.
because I think I was just like so living in the moment at that
Yeah.
time. But then I think about it now and I was like, yeah, like I used to have to like stay up like to watch things live because there wasn't like YouTube access to these performances or anything. And now like K-pop fans have it a lot, I would say a lot better. I'm so happy for them that they can just find like
Yeah.
a clip on TikTok, a clip on
So
YouTube.
fast.
Like, look, pictures like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like finding their outfits and
Of
like what
course.
they were wearing and putting them up, whatever. It's like that was a whole part of the site
Yeah,
for her.
Soshified style, and that was before it even like people were even noticing that stuff. Like we did
Yeah.
it before like Taylor Swift fans did it for all that stuff.
Yeah,
like
this is 2022. So I guess that's
even
around
before
the
that,
time.
we did like because this has been up. I think Soshified was around.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying like this is probably around the last time. When,
Right.
like, this
It's
was,
been
like,
updated. But
Yeah.
like it's because I had such an incredible staff. Like everyone that was on the team was such a big Girls' Generation fan, and that part of Soshified was because a staff member was like, "Oh, can we start this section of the site?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's make it happen. Let's like we have like a
Insanity.
graphics team. Let's all like I think it's a great idea. You know, like people are interested in what the girls are wearing, and let's just
Yeah, because they're
connect the
wearing
dots.
Balmain and Bulgari, but they're also wearing Zara. I was like
Yeah.
on here like, oh my god, she
Yeah,
got
that's
Zara
what's
sweater
always so
on.
interesting about when fans do that to me, like the K-pop outfits. It's like, this is what Jimin was wearing. It's like, yeah, a $3,000 sweater? Thanks for letting me know.
But then Army will like go sell it out anyway.
Yeah.
So like that actually makes sense for
Yeah.
them. Who was your bias?
Oh, Yuri.
Okay, that makes
Easy.
sense. Mine was Soo Young.
Okay, great.
Yeah, she's
I love-
amazing.
I
Has
love-
it changed?
I have a lot of bias records, but I mean, I like all of Girls' Generation, but I have a very special history with Yuri because for their first anniversary, I had a shirt that says I Heart Yuri, and then I made her a shirt that says I Heart Soy, and she wore it on the blog. I know, she wore it on the blog I was like, dang, she knows. And then every time we've met in
wow.
person, she's always like, always interacts with me on a very personal level. Like she'll like share pictures on her phone, like, oh, look at my cat. Like we've had like moments at the airport. We've had moments like at the concert, she recognized me on the floor. Like Tiffany was like, "Oh my gosh, there's Soy," and then like there's a fan cam of her pointing at me and like doing a heart. Like, so like I feel like that's such that nostalgia moment. And every time I think of Yuri and how much effort she put into knowing that like she was my bias is like really hard to let go of, you know. But I mean, I like all of them. They're all like. They're all great and they're so beautiful in person and they're so talented.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm kind of sad. I feel like I missed the boat a little bit, you know, on Girls' Generation, but I still love. They do solo work. Taeyeon is one of the most amazing female soloists ever in K-pop, and her voice is crazy. So I feel like I'm being introduced piecemeal, like on the back end. But then going back, like I discovered Girls' Generation in 2009.
Yeah.
They were doing what O and G were the two
Yes,
songs that were
GG.
out.
That's when they like really changed the industry.
Yeah.
G.
Those were iconic for me, but then forgot about K-pop and came back to it during BTS time.
Right, that
so I
makes
feel
sense.
like that's something that you and I also a little bit
Yeah.
bond
I love
over.
BTS.
Well, yeah, true. But
I
just
love
the Girls'
BTS.
Generation and stuff in general, because I think a lot of newer fans don't
No,
know the lore.
Oh, it's so
Like,
crazy. They were like the industry, like they had this blackout moment. Do you know about this, Tetris?
No, blackout moment.
Do you know the Dream concert?
The Dream No.
Ooh, it's like a big part of K-pop history.
Oh wait, I think
the
I
blackout.
do. Wait, with the one member, right, or something?
No, so basically what happened was there's this Dream concert in Korea where all these like big artists perform, and they were one of the artists. But I guess like at that time, I mentioned Girls' Generation was like the only big like girl group, but then people were like speculating they were dating certain members of other groups.
Oh.
So
Always happens.
during this concert,
Oh no.
all the fans from the other groups decided, hey, when the Girls' Generation members perform, we're going to turn off our light sticks. It was terrible. It was so quiet. It is one of the horror stories of K-pop, where it was mostly dark except for the Girls' Generation section. And I, honestly, that made me so sad as a fan to just see something like that, you know, as just because some fans were kind of jealous of the girls.
Relationships, personal relationships
stuff.
of people you don't know.
Right.
That's when I get on my high horse, and I probably shouldn't go on a tangent on the podcast. But K-pop fans specifically are sometimes some of the most toxic people when it comes to the way that they show their love for their artists. And it's like, it can be a little jarring.
It's definitely jarring. I think the cultural differences, it starts there. Because I realized too, when I got back into K-pop, I was like, oh, this is very, okay, I need to like educate myself. I need to learn about like why everything is the way that it is. You know, like why are people so aggressive towards the idea of dating or
even making a mistake.
But again, it's like laws over there incredibly different. I mean, obviously drugs are taken more seriously than anything else, which here we think is very unfortunate, but to them that's very serious. So there's always that kind of like on my end understand, like not agreeing
There's
with
no
it,
way
but
to
understanding.
I guess understanding is good, because I would say definitely not agree, because you're playing with people's lives. And like when you tell me about this blackout comes, I'm thinking, what if I was in that group? How would I take that, the pain of like seeing an audience of people react to me in that negative way?
Right.
And then you hear these really awful stories about people that have taken their lives and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I think
definitely.
that this like standard that they hold these people to is just like unrealistic, and it's really unfortunate. And like my most recent example is when I like actually had to take a step back and look at myself was like the Sugar situation.
Oh, right.
And it's like I did a video for Billboard where I talked about like the whole situation with the scooter and him falling over, and like it was like DUI. It was but I reported on it because I work for a news organization that reports on musicians.
Right.
And like I got dragged on social media, right? It was like, how could you do this to Sugar? You're not a real ARMY. You're a fake fan. You're destroying his reputation. I'm like, I'm just reporting. And I actually said in the video, like, much love to Sugar. Hope everything works out. He gets, but they're like, no, you shouldn't even report it on this. You're using videos that make him look bad. And I was like, this is crazy. I'm doing my job. Fast forward, just a week ago, I was scrolling through TikTok, and I saw a video of them leaving like funeral wreaths outside of Hive
I saw that
in
too.
Korea because they want like Sugar to like quit the group or something because he
Oh, I didn't even
embarrassed
know
them.
about that.
And he's like he needs to step back because of his awful behavior or something. And they're putting funeral wreaths outside of an office building because they want this man to quit his job. That's when I was like, oh, do I agree that I shouldn't have reported on it? No, because that's my job.
Right.
But I understand now, like you said, why Army was like, don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't put more attention on it.
Right.
Because there's crazy people that will put wreaths out of somebody's job.
I think that's what it is, though, and that's why it's hard to navigate for like Western fans, because we look at Western artists, and Western artists have been like the Wild West forever.
He
you know
fell
what
off
I mean?
a scooter.
I know he fell off.
And nothing happened.
I'm not saying
It's
that they're
crazy.
right. That's what I mean, though. It's like we have our opinions because that's how things are here. Like, yes, the man fell off a scooter because he was drunk and he was on a scooter. And like at some point, it's like, damn, bro, just don't get on a scooter the next time. It's fine. Like if that would be embarrassing for us, right? Damn, I fell off a scooter and I'm drunk. But for them, again, they take everything is so different, and for Korean fans, that is real life for them, and that is how they see the world, and that's the standard they're held to. And then there's always the conversation about like the military, the 2 years they have to take off, that whole conversation with BTS, and we're sitting here like, why wouldn't they be let off? But to them, again, that is their real life. And men over there believe that it is their right and their duty to actually serve in the military, and they have to do it and whatever. So,
Or they get in trouble. That happened to Psy.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They get in trouble. So,
I mean, they were talking about it. We reported on it several times that they were going to give BTS a pass.
but ultimately, then they decided, because the general population
They
was
knew.
like,
They
why
knew.
do I have to go?
Yeah, they knew.
Yeah, so that's why. But I think for things like that, we can understand and we can address and look at how toxic fans are, while still knowing that they're Western fans and we can speak to ARMY now or whatever. I can't really speak to Girls' Generation fans, but their Western fans have a different opinion on certain things. And that blackout concert, I don't know. Like, I know that dating then was a much bigger deal than it is now. We've come a long way.
Have we?
I think so.
Every
little bit
time
better. It's like
somebody,
an inch.
every
It's like
time
an
somebody
inch.
rumored to date a Blackpink girl or a BTS person, it's just a bloodbath.
Thankfully, I'm mostly on Western K-pop fan stuff, and I see the support. I see like, oh my God, if J-Hope was with somebody amazing, she's so lucky. That kind of thing. I don't think it was always like that. So in that respect, I do think it's gotten better because they have more fans. It's not just their Korean fans that would hold them to that standard, but at the same time, that's also their life. I don't know how they feel about them dating and putting that information out there because maybe they don't even agree with putting their own relationships out there for that reason, So you never know.
You know what's
danger
the
zone.
crazy thing about the whole funeral wreath thing? I saw another, I don't know, because I've been so, like I mentioned, I kind of did a back burner with K-pop, but I did see that because someone, like some boy band member dated someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put funeral wreaths because they wanted him to like leave the group or something. And when I first saw that, I was like, is this a new trend where fans are doing this? Because it's, and then there's a video of him walking in front of them. I'm just like, this is so dystopian.
Is it a new trend? Because I don't know.
I don't know
Did you
either.
ever used to see that?
I have never seen that in my life, and I would have never expected that to be something. It's
wild.
almost like bullying, right? Like
Yeah.
telling the company, like, hey, like we hold the power, to do this. Like, and I think that's the main difference between like Western artists and like even like Asian artists, I would say, because I think the fan culture in Korea isn't just for Korea. Like, I've seen like Thai fans being very like very, I wouldn't loving, or like they I don't know what the right word to use, but like very
Overprotective?
very, they do a lot.
Yeah, the culture shock for sure getting into K-pop versus a lot of other things I think is like very stark. But I mean, you being Vietnamese, do you see that from Vietnamese fans at all?
I don't follow a lot of Vietnamese artists, but I follow some like Thai artists and some like Chinese artists. Yeah. Like, and I think similarly, like they're just always doing things. Like a lot of their artists are always in the hospital or getting sick, and because they're always like being overworked.
Oh, wow.
Right. And in America, it's like so different.
Yeah.
Because in America, it's like, I would say the closest thing we've ever had to K-pop fandom is One Direction or Justin Bieber. Right. When Bieber fever started happening, I was like, oh, there's some correlation in this. And because
yeah, a little bit.
Like this is another part of the lore, but I actually interned for Scooter Braun at one point. Oh. Because I was a big Justin Bieber fan. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was because of Girls' Generation too, because he was very interested in the K-pop space at that time.
He still is.
He still is, because like he signed Psy at that point. He also, I think, signed CL at that point.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I was interning for him and everything, and that's when I realized, oh, like I actually like don't want to work in the music industry. I don't like, I mean, I'll never say never, but at that time, like I was like,
Never say never. Sorry.
Well, I love like Justin Bieber, but to be pulled out of that curtain and kind of see it from the scope of, how these humans are actually interacting or how they're feeling and all these things are so big. I was like, ooh, actually,
I don't know if this is for me.
This is not the space that I want to be in, you know?